Here we go, guys. Ready? Welcome to Inside the 18, live from my bunker in Palm Desert, California. I'm Michael Magid. With me is 99 World Cup winner Saskia Weber. And today we are joined by the one and only Laurie Pells George of Pells Goalkeeper School from all the way in the Northeast. We're keeping these New Jersey connections going strong on the show.
Michael, you don't know what to do with yourself right now because every goalkeeper comes from Jersey.
I know. So every single time I say something, I'm like, and they just happen to be from New Jersey. And it's like, I feel like it's becoming redundant. Like I just need to stop saying that because it's just every time people are going to be like, yeah, we kind of get it. Everyone comes from New Jersey. Like what's your point about all of that? Guys, speaking of those of you guys who are not in New Jersey, we are very, 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 very thankful for all of you guys around the world who've been listening to the podcast, over 300 reviews worldwide. Please make sure that right now during this lockdown time, you've got the time, go on there, give it a nice little 5 stars on iTunes, leave a little review, leave your social media handle, Twitter or Instagram, so we can follow you back, send you out prizes. You're eligible for them. And honestly, it takes 30 seconds. Like right now, Laurie just left a review. That's how long it takes to do it. It's very, very simple to do it. I like how stoic she looked at me too. She's like, am I supposed to do that right now?
She looks very serious right now.
Yeah, she was like very serious about it.
But you know, that's not what it is. It's that she's biting at the bit to talk.
No, I know. I lost sleep over this last night when I found out I was going to be on. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to lose sleep over this.
Well, let's just kind of bring up kind of a little bit of backstory for some of the audience here. I haven't seen Laurie in, God, my gosh, how many years? Over 10 years. It's got to be.
10, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a coaching course. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And we got some stories from those coaching courses. For those of you guys who have not been taking your coaching licenses, you just got to go take the coaching licenses just for the stories, honestly. Like,
it's great stories and great connections, that you make for life. Now I get to see you again and talk to you again. And just the coaching world is small and we all got to stay connected, whether you're a goalkeeper or a field player coach, a college coach, a club coach. The coaching world is small. So it's great to be able to talk to you again and see Saskia again, who I had the privilege to play with back in 2001 in the inaugural season of the WSA. So it's great connections all around.
Yeah, but I've seen you. When did I see you? I just saw you.
We did. And unfortunately, it was at Tony DeChico's funeral and memorial that they had for him. Yeah. So, but here we are again.
Yes.
Well, we're here under better circumstances right here. But speaking of the late great Tony DeChico, that is one of the people that I did meet through all these connections, and I made a lot of connections through the whole Soccer Plus world through Tony and the licenses and working the camps and everything like that. And just honestly, I just want to basically reiterate what you just said, Laurie, in regards to just the connections you make at these camps. For these young goalkeeper coaches out there listening to the show right now or watching, the connections you make are for a lifetime. Like you might not see these people for 10, 15 years, but you'll be able to reach out to them and immediately be able to make connections. I can't tell you how many jobs I've gotten, how many goalkeepers I've been able to get placed in schools just for the fact that I've met people at courses. And it's just that personal connection that you don't get. I hate to say it, but nowadays with the social media, it's just not the same thing. Sometimes the face-to-face connection, it just means so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of younger coaches feel like it's going to happen quicker. Okay. That they're going to get an assistant coaching job or head coaching job earlier than they should. But I really, truly feel that you got to put in your time. And I'm very thankful for Tony and giving me that opportunity to work with him. I got to go in and actually have a tryout with the national team back in '99, but just the connections that we had, that he put my name into the Clemson job. And then from there, just making connections and working camps and doing the coaching camp clinics and putting in your time is what I say to younger coaches is you'll get there. You're going to be a volunteer maybe for the first couple of years, but put in your time and you will rise to the top, And so I think it's just really valuable to take the course and you'll make those connections, and in time, you're going to see yourself rise to the top.
And to be honest with you, it humbles you too. Go ahead.
But it does. I totally agree. I mean, coming out of college, my entire life in the summer, if I wasn't with the national team, you had to find, you had to do something. And my life was coaching Tony's camps and working with Soccer Plus and meeting Bill, Stefan, and everybody, and gaining that family and that community.
Yeah.
you know, and even when I took a hiatus from soccer, you know, I can still reach out. Like I talk to Bill all the time. Like, obviously Laurie and me are, in contact, and it is a lifetime family. And what the younger upcoming goalkeeper coaches have to realize is that you have to ingrain yourself in that and believe in that. Because when I have questions sometimes, or when I need something, like I can reach out to multiple goalkeeper coaches that I have trained with over 30 years. Yes, I said 30.
Awesome.
Whatever.
Well, speaking of goalkeeper coaches, let's kind of get into a little bit of today's episode. Let's get into some listener questions first before we get into today's topic. I think today's topic is a really important topic. I'm really excited, Laurie, that you were down to come on and talk about this, because it's not the easiest subject or the most fun subject for us all to talk about right now, but I think it's an important topic. And the topic today is going to be about how to keep your goalkeeper academy thriving during this challenging time period, which is kind of unprecedented for all of us in regards to our coaching careers. So I think it's really beneficial for us to be able to chat about and have a dialogue about it, and also to just give some advice to some people who might out there be struggling and they don't really have anybody helping guide them. So but first off, let's start with some fun questions here. So this first question comes from Alex Kramphouse, again from Cincy Training Camp from yesterday, and he asked you two, what advice do you give goalkeepers in a penalty kick shootout versus in-game penalties, and which is more difficult?
I think what's more difficult was within the game. I think in a shootout, to me personally, could be a little bit more an advantage to the goalkeeper. There's 5 shooters. Those shooters are waiting at the half mark. They have to think about their time up at the 12-yard line. I think they have more on their shoulders that they have to convert that penalty kick because they have more time to think about it. I think it's harder for the goalkeeper when it's just one penalty kick within the game. Personally, that's my feeling. There's more advantage to the goalkeeper on a penalty kick shootout.
Yeah, I think in the shootout you get your rhythm, and you're in that moment. It's a production. It's something that's going on. You're focusing on the shootout. In the run of the game, something might happen. It's quick. It's fast. Like everything's crazy. People are upset. You're upset. You don't think it was a penalty. Then you got to get your mind together, and then you got to step up and refocus and make one save. So I think with the shootout, I agree with you, Laura. I think it's not easier, but it is, easier in the shootout because you're calmed down, you're taking your moment, and it's a rhythm, and you get into it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think it's also a percentages thing in regards to the number of reps, because the thing is that in a penalty shootout, chances are you might make a save. Even if you just went the same direction the entire time and happened that one person decided to shoot that direction and they hit it a little off kilter, you might make a save.
Yeah.
When it's in the run of the game, like I remember every penalty kick save that I've made in an actual run of game, because it's meant that much more to me, because it's in my mind, I psych myself out a lot of times in that situation, just almost being like
one of the last saves I made in my career.
Penalty kick save?
Run of game, penalty kick save against the Atlanta Beat, Charmaine Hooper.
Whoa.
Yeah. See,
wow.
Laurie?
Wow.
Exactly.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
I will take it for my life.
Yeah, I would too. Do you have that ball? Do you have the ball?
What?
Did you get to keep the ball?
Well, the game, but I saw Charmaine at a UCLA camp for her daughter to be
Oh
at
my
UCLA,
gosh.
and I was just like, and I still think about it. I'm like, I see that PK.
Love it.
It was awesome.
I think this is honestly something that people can argue one way or the other, but the bottom line is that in regards to your mental mindset has to be strong, whether it's a PK shootout or run of game. And personally, I feel like I said, my mental mindset in games, I psyched myself out of penalty kicks that I probably could have made the save just because I expected them to make it rather than me being in the position to make the save. And that's why I'm sitting here behind a counter with a microphone instead of on the field.
I never that much.
Let's move on to this next one. This comes from Broward Myron. I can never pronounce this right. Broward C. Marianne, and he sent quite a few questions. So we're just going to choose one of these right here. And I think this is a great one for someone like Laurie here. Okay, let's get some keeper specific body weight and aerobic exercises with and without basic weights and bands that goalkeepers can be doing right now at home.
Yeah, this is where you got to be creative, because I'm doing the same thing. I'm not able to go to the gym either right now. So I'm being creative with my workouts, whether I'm doing a lot of cardio and running anywhere between 5 and 7 miles a day, because I want to keep my cardio up. But at the same time, I also want to do some type of lifting. And if you don't have free weights, then I look for odd objects that are heavy and work on single leg squats and planks and pigeon leg squats. There's so much out there online that you can research about how to do a certain exercise correctly. Because the worst thing is doing it incorrectly and then getting injured or tweaking your knee because you're not doing a squat correctly. So my advice is to definitely make sure you're doing the right technique, but encourage aerobic exercising and jump roping and working on your explosiveness by doing plyo still. Feeling comfortable, maybe jumping up 2 steps. If you feel comfortable, maybe jumping up 3 steps to work on your plyometrics. You have to get creative and think outside the box, just like us coaches do too. But the resources are out there for anyone to find online as well.
I think you brought up a really good point that I didn't even think about is that aerobic conditioning, because how many of us are just doing anaerobic training right now because of restrictions of space, or just a simple matter of just like, that's more fun than getting any sort of distance type of work. And now I know some people.
We talked about.
Yeah, they can't do the running inside.
We
Yeah.
talked about this the other day. Some, in the situation we're in, some kids are like, my parents won't let me go for a run. And that's understandable. And by the way, didn't you just run a marathon?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not me. That was not me.
No, that was not for Michael.
No, I will not do a marathon, but I do adventure races like Spartan races, Tough Mudders. We're doing a virtual race online right now with the Savage Race. I do 10Ks, but listen, we all know goalkeepers need to got to be athletic. You got to be fit. You can't just be quick between the posts. You got to have some type of endurance, and you got to be able to run. I really think you got to be able to run 5 miles, without hovering over. And I think it's important to have a cardio base.
I think it's important. I tell our goalkeepers this all the time. We get back from summer with club, and the kids have to go through the same fitness testing the field players have to do. And you get the moms and the parents and the dads, and everybody's yelling at you, but they're a goalkeeper. And my answer is, number one, first of all, I had to pass every same fitness test that Mia Hamm did and Julie Foudy and everybody else. You're an athlete, and you have to have a base of athleticism. Mm-hmm. And what that it's not, oh, well, I have to do cones, or I have to run the beep test or something like that. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Because this is a base. This is the standard that we are holding you, not as a goalkeeper, but as an athlete too. And so find a way to get to there and maintain it.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a solution for how anyone can pass the Cooper, that would be great,
Cooper,
Laurie.
I don't think anybody does the Cooper anymore. I think I aged myself. I think it's a beep test.
Yeah.
I think I aged myself with the Cooper.
Because I was like, don't think I've heard about the Cooper in quite a while. Right there, I used to hate the Cooper. Oh, that was my least favorite act. I'd rather do the beep test than the Cooper, to be honest with you. Yeah. All right. By the way, shout out to Eric Eisenhunt, GK Icon. He says, "Hey, Laurie," on the comment
Hey,
sheet
Eric.
right there.
Hope to see you this summer. I hope we're there with each other this summer.
Are you guys doing a little project this summer?
No, regional camp.
Nice.
Region camp. We got to work with each other. Yeah.
Oh,
another shout out to Kimberly Crab is watching.
Oh my gosh, one of the originals. One of the originals.
The first African American player ever on the U.S. national team.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
The originals. What's up, Kimberly?
All right.
I love that.
She should do a little hand wave back. I don't know why I did this. Like that's gonna make it happen. Like just waving my hand like that. She just commented. Nope. Or she did comment and it hasn't come through yet.
I think that's awesome. What's up? I love that.
All right, let's speaking of academies and camps this summer, let's get right into today's topic, guys. How to prepare your goalkeeper academy post lockdown, how to keep things thriving right now during this difficult situation. There's a lot of parents who listen to this podcast who are not familiar with a lot of the vernacular that we use. They get a little bit confused, so I kind of want to break it down first. Laurie, what is the difference between a goalkeeper academy and a club academy that a lot of their kids train at?
Well, I feel like with a goalkeeper academy, such as what I do, I mean, I don't even know if I consider myself an academy. I train goalkeepers, and it is a union that we have with their club. That is where they go to practice 3 times a week. They get maybe an hour if they're lucky. I used to work with Bethesda Soccer for 3 years, and I gave an hour to each age group. But I hear many clubs don't even give that. Maybe 15 minutes if they're lucky, maybe 20. Yeah, and then they get to their team. Then they get to team training, and maybe they get integrated within the team. So that's the difference to me, is like when you get to your club, you're not getting that specialized attention. With an academy goalkeeping that you have, or like myself doing sessions, I call it doing training sessions, is you get that private session. You get groups of 4. When I do training sessions for anybody in high school, it's no more than 4 in a group. I like to keep it small groups. Lots of attention, just me and the 4 players, or the 3 or 2 or 1. And so that's the biggest difference to me, is the more reps, the more individual attention you're going to get in academy, a goalkeeper academy, than club training. And it's great that they have it. I'm grateful that the clubs have goalkeeper coaches. Some of them are outstanding coaches and they're awesome, and I loved it, but you need additional training on top of that.
Absolutely you do. And the thing is I agree with you, because with with the LA Bulls and stuff, I don't get that much time during the week with my keepers. And I try to make it that I get the first 30, 45 minutes with them. But then they do go back to their teams, and then they get put in a lot of times in drills that we all know are not keeper friendly.
Yeah.
And it's chaos. And so to have that, fortunately on Fridays, we've established that I have I have just keepers. They do fast footwork for field players. I just have the keepers, and that's all they do. But you need more than that. You have to, to be a serious goalkeeper, you have to get training in. If you're not getting in at your club, if you're only seeing your goalkeeper coach once a week or something, you've got to find another outlet. You have to.
No, I think that's a really good point. And I mean, personally, I always tell people, I said, never look at, because I know how it gets a lot of times. I've been a club goalkeeper coach too. And I understand it when you're a younger goalkeeper coach, people get combative, or they get defensive, or they go, why is this kid going off to go train at this, private training program, away from my club? Am I not giving them enough? Do I not know what I'm talking about? But a lot of it is just, a lot of times it's just like, there's only so many reps that you can give. And honestly, just, you need to hear different voices. And, it's not about you. It's about those kids. And, maybe, there's something that somebody else you can take the time with, because they're not on the clock with the club and only has 45 minutes with, 16 kids or whatever, sometimes the crazy numbers are that sometimes clubs have. And they need that little bit of personal attention.
If you're not in your own head, you're not a narcissist, then pick up the phone and call Laurie and say, how's Joe doing? And this is how he did this week in club practice. I know you're with him. He didn't do that well in his game, because, he's there for the games possibly. And this is what happened. He was struggling on crosses, or so on and so forth. So maybe when he's with you, just know that this happened. Work for the benefit together for the goalkeeper. Not, don't get an ego on you and be like, well, he's off training with Laurie, or he's off training with Saskia, whatever. No, connect, have a conversation.
Man, that's a really, really good point. So let's kind of talk about this right here in regards to what some of the goalkeeper coaches are having issues with right now in regards to running their academies, and kind of the challenges that they're facing as an independent academy. And like, what are some of the steps that coaches can take right now to make sure that their academies are still running smoothly? Because I think one of the main problems that I'm seeing a lot out there is that a lot of goalkeeper coaches are acting like, well, everything's done, everything's shut down for right now, so it's just kind of wait and see attitude, rather than thinking about like, this is going to end. This is going to end at some point. And if you want to keep your academy running and you want to keep it thriving and you want to be ready for the summer and make sure that everything is ready to go, you know, you can't stop right now. You got to be preparing for when everything's over. So Laurie, what are some of the actions that would be best for some of these coaches to take?
Well, I think it's important. Like I'm in that situation right now. I'm thinking, what are some actions I could take right now to keep up with the goalkeepers that I work with on a regular weekly, bi-weekly basis? And again, this is where we never been in a situation like this before. We usually are seeing these kids all the time, reaching out to them, making a personal connection with them, doing Zoom calls with them. This is off the field stuff. I'm always going to give them on field stuff, give them ideas what they can do. There's only so much you can do. I feel like it's really difficult to show them everything we could do as far as goalkeeping. Can't really replicate a breakaway situation in training by yourself unless you work on smothering or something. But I'm trying to connect with them more on a personal level, reaching out to them, seeing what they've been up to. Hey, let's get a Zoom call between us and 5 others and connect with them that way. What kind of fitness have you been doing? Just trying to let them know how much I've been thinking of them. Last week, I reached out to maybe 10 people that I work with and wanted to reach out and see how they're doing. You know, are you okay? Have you been doing anything to keep up with your fitness? So that's what I've been doing on more on a personal level. And as far as goalkeeping, I've been trying to keep up with by sending videos. Soccer Plus, Tony Chico, many years ago, he had videos out. I saw a post by Lisa Cole, love Lisa Cole. She posted, hey, goalkeepers, check this out. I sent that link onto goalkeepers that I know that could use some reminders about the basic handling and catching and stance. And so I'm trying to give them as many resources as possible to help them achieve during this tough time.
I think that's awesome because, you know, Michael and I have talked about in several of our casts that you want to find the right videos. There's so much stuff out there right now. And Michael knows I'm being very sweet right now.
It's tough for you to do, which is tough for you to do.
For me to do because I'm very, very critical. That drives me crazy. And I love that you're sending out the Tony's videos and stuff because that's how we believe in those.
Yeah.
I also think that, you know, I had a summer program that I had always said to my goalkeepers for club that they can do by themselves. It was a program developed that they just need one ball and they could do it by themselves. And I made sure my goalkeepers up to my UCLA goalkeepers, I sent the same program to them and had video chats with them and went over things and answered questions and everything. But then also, like we said the other day, was also identify everybody's individual situation and what they have, what tools they have. Like some people don't have a backyard, some people don't have a wall, some people don't have things. So you can't just blanketly send your kids, hey, this is what you're doing. You have to identify your kids, talk to them, talk about their environment, find out what's going on, and then like take a minute and tweak it just for them.
Yeah. By the way, I want to say a shout out to all the parents that I'm seeing coming on the comment lines right here and just, you know, coming on this, watching the Facebook Live here. This is awesome. I love seeing the parents coming on here. You're educating yourselves. You're trying to help your goalkeepers out at home. It's really, really awesome. I'm even seeing some parents on here, you know, whose goalkeepers are in college and then they had to go back home, you know, for the time being. And, you know, it's a little bit of a different situation because, you know, they're so used to at college being kind of had a system to go. And now it's kind of like they're back at their summer situation. So shout out to all of you guys. I want to talk now a little bit about staff. Okay. Obviously we have, you know, people that work with us as well too, with our programs, whether we're at a club or an independent academy. What's the best way to communicate with your staff right now during this time period? Because I see a lot of people who are communicating with their clients in regards to the kids, but they're not communicating with the other coaches. And I feel like that's something that could be better served in regards to really making sure that everyone's on the same page come the end of the lockdown.
Well, with me, it's unique. It's just me who does do training sessions. But when I do camps, I do have staff. I do hire college coaches, college players, and I do reach out with them all the time. I mean, I was supposed to have a I have a boot camp every year, 12 weeks, January through March. And I had to cut my last week of boot camp because of the coronavirus, unfortunately. And I was supposed to have a staff party. And unfortunately, I had to cancel that too. But I reconnect with them often and tell them, hey, we're going to get back to it. We'll see you soon. I'm going to have a staff party. So I try to stay connected with everybody, reaching out with them. But fortunately, it's just me that run the training sessions of my Pells Keeper School business.
Gotcha. Well,
I think for me, it's we're all in contact, because it's different, with a club and stuff like that. So I jump on the club, make sure they have their Zoom meetings twice a week. I'll jump on one or two of those. I won't jump on every single one. I'll jump on one per team or something.
How many meetings are you doing a day, Saskia?
Oh, I was like, that's why on Saturday you're like, do you want to have a Zoom meeting? And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I'm over Zoom. Some days it's 5, depending. Between UCLA or talking to my keepers or individual or coaches meetings or LA Bulls or whatever. Sometimes it's 5 a day, sometimes 2. Today it's 1. So
all right. Just 1 today. Congratulations. Day off. You got it going.
but it's good because people are making that effort to keep in contact and visually keep in contact. And I think that's important.
So let's talk hypothetically speaking, for somebody out there who's a goalkeeper coach who's started a program and they have a few people maybe on staff with themselves. What types of tasks should they be delegating out to people? Because I think what's happening a lot of times right now, at least when I'm some of the goalkeeper coaches that I'm talking to who runs their own programs, is that they're delegating everything on themselves and they're just trying to do everything on their own rather than actually having some tasks that normally they would be handing out to other coaches. And because there's that lack of communication, they're just trying to do everything themselves. Well, if, like you're talking about, Saskia, with the club, if you don't know what they're doing and they don't know what you're doing, well, then no one's on the same page and you guys might be doing double the work and getting less results.
Right. I mean, I jump into those meetings specifically to hear what Kelly or Millet or Kira or John or them are talking with their team about. They're analyzing the games that they've set out that week. I want to hear what they're focusing on. And so when I have my Friday goalkeeper Zoom with all my keepers, I've already known what the topic and what their coaches are focusing on. So I'm connected. I'm not off base.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly important.
Yeah. Now, Laurie, something that you brought up yesterday to Saskia off the air, and we were like, oh my gosh, we really need to bring this up, is whether you should be running any sessions whatsoever right now.
Right.
Because there are some people still running sessions out there, and I mean, personally, I think, I understand some people's financial situations are more difficult than others. I think in the long run, you're doing more harm than good to your business if you're out there doing that. How do you feel?
Yeah, that was a hard email I sent. I think it was on the week of March 16th, 17th. I was training still, and it was okay. And there was people on the parks and the fields, and everybody was, playing. The moms were out with their daughters playing lacrosse or whatever, and I was doing training sessions. And by the end of the week, on that Sunday, I looked around. I'm like, okay, Sunday the 22nd. I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Doing group sessions? Like, I felt in my heart, like, is this right now? And it was a tough email. I also spoke to a friend of mine in New Jersey. He was, a good friend. He's a good friend of mine. And he has the coronavirus. Now he's better, but he's still fighting it. But he's cured. He doesn't have it anymore, but he still has side effects. And he's like, it's just not worth it. Just take a break. Just take a break. It's just not worth it right now. So it's just a tough situation because we here in Maryland can still be outside exercising, no more than 10 in a group, keeping 6 feet apart. So you can. You're not violating the state ordinance at all. So it's a tough situation to be in. Do you train 1 or 2? Do you train privates? Or it's very difficult. It's hard.
I think here, Mike knows this. Like I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, usually when there's a big break, I get hammered with privates. And I was like, you know what? No. And I had a talk with one of my players' mothers, and her husband's a cop. And every day we hope that he's safe because he's out there dealing with the public. And it just got to the point that I said, what am I doing? Like, our parks are shut down right now. Can I find a place to train? Probably. But what am I doing? Like, I don't know who was on that field beforehand. I don't know, what's going on now that everybody has to wear a mask. Now it's not worth it. It's not. And I understand the financial things where coaches are like, I got to make up the money somehow. So yeah, I'm going to, I want to do guys, it's not worth it. This is like a serious situation.
Yeah. And I've had
a serious situation. And, for you to say, I'm going to bring a child and their parent and go to a field and train them where they're sweating and you're sweating and people before you might have been training and coughing and stuff like that. No, it's not worth it.
I had a situation where the last private that I did, I started feeling sick. And look, knock on wood, I'm getting better now and everything like that. And it was a reasonably serious illness. It wasn't COVID-19 from what I know.
Really sick.
I got pretty sick. And I started questioning myself because I'm like, I don't know, do I have it right now? And am I going to be part of the problem right now running this session right now? Now, this was early on. I'm talking about March 15th was the last session that I did. And obviously the world has changed a lot since March 15th, especially in Southern California. And I just went, you know what, if I'm sick, and I sent it back to this kid, and he gives it to his parents and grandparents and yada, yada, and that neighborhood. And the next thing I know, that entire neighborhood has it because of me going out here for, a little bit of cash. Like it's not worth it. And I'm stressing to a lot of goalkeeper coaches out there, and shout out to Stan Anderson from Camp Shutout, who recommended this as well, is that when you're posting on social media right now, please let people know the date that you did this training video so that people don't think that you're running these sessions right now.
I love that you said that, because you don't want people to get the wrong idea that you're out there doing this right now. And, this is something that, like, even with UCLA, I talked to our health staff and everything. Whether if you're on the intramural fields, they're synthetic. And we don't know what happens. We don't know how long the virus stays on something. We don't know. So, if you're out there because they're open and you're out there training, and like I said, before somebody was out there, maybe had the virus and was doing push-ups or sweating or doing this and that, you don't know. And so you have to be smart. You have to be smart about this.
Yeah.
And no, don't do privates. Stop. Don't do privates.
Yeah. I've had people contact me and go, well, it's okay. It's just my backyard. Seriously.
But you don't know where that child's coming from.
Exactly.
You don't know what they're bringing to you. And if it lays dormant for 5 days to 14 days, then you keep bringing kids into your backyard. You don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this here because, we obviously, the episode that we did yesterday with Mitch Hildebrandt from Sporting KC in regards to running Zoom sessions and presentations and all that sort of stuff. So if you guys did not check out that episode, go back on the feed. It's on all the social media platforms and just click on that link right there because there's a lot really good information in there. Let's just talk about some alternatives that you and your staff can provide your clients right now that are safe and they're efficient. Again, I loved doing the Zoom chats, the breaking down film. If you happen to have a parent that played as a serve and can serve in the backyard and you can do a little breakdown with them, great. Not everybody's got that situation. Individual training, putting programs together. Is there any other ideas, Laurie, that you can think of out there that goalkeeper coaches can use?
Goalkeeper, I think, again, we just got to be creative right now at this time. Go in the back. Like I said, we have to have if you have a backyard, go back out there and just, if you can train your son or daughter and to get a couple of touches on the ball, that's going to help. And anything you're going to do with your son or daughter is going to be better than nothing. I mean, I'm even trying to get my kids out there to play. For some reason they don't feel like training. I mean, I'm like, come on.
What, they don't want to train right now? They train all the time.
I know.
Come on, we're doing it.
I mean, I know. I'm just trying to get them to juggle. That's all I'm trying to get them to do right now.
But when mom leads by example,
I'm trying.
Can you juggle? Are you a good juggler?
No, I'm not at all.
Can you juggle, Michael?
no, I'm terrible at
I
juggling.
can't juggle at all.
And that's the thing. So Barney, you know how Barney's got her Techne app, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of juggling in her Techne app. And
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can't juggle.
And here's exactly the highest I got in front of my daughter was 16. I'm like, that's really bad. I'm like, listen, I promise I was a really good goalkeeper. I just cannot juggle a ball. So
I can't juggle at all.
So
it's so amazing because like she's got in that and it's a cool training program. No, don't get me wrong. Shout out to Techne for putting that whole goalkeeping program together. But like all the touches on the ball, I've been out in my dad's backyard just working on my touches, and I'm like, I am so bad with my weak foot. I had no idea how bad I am with my weak foot.
Well, schools wanted us to post, the coaches us to post doing it. And
Yeah.
I was like, to our media, Sabrina who does our media stuff, I was like, absolutely not. I'm like, I can't juggle. And
Well-
I'm like, and I'm not going to try and have you post me being an idiot. On the
Exactly.
line. Just assume I can, and that's the end of it.
They can post me. Feel free to let them use me.
well, here's the thing. All three of us are saying right now that we cannot juggle. We're not good at this. So you know what? And this is what I'm telling parents also. Let them be soccer players right now.
Yeah.
Get out there, passing the ball with their feet. If you can find a wall against your house that's safe or a harder surface, work on your first touch or second touch, pass and receive, because we know we struggle with our feet. We get it, if you can find that space, if you can work on chipping a ball to get used to a goal kick. But I say this to parents, like, it's okay if they work on develop as a soccer player, because that's what we ultimately are as a soccer player, and a goalkeeper is our position. So I really wish goalkeepers would really focus right now on their technique as a soccer player. And in addition, work with their hands and work, and get that in as well.
Yeah,
Well, absolutely, because I always say, look, what do we do 90% of the time? More than 90% of the time, it's distribution.
Yeah.
Right? We don't save the ball 90% of the time. If we do, you find another team. So like we do distribution. We use our feet, whether it's goal kicks, whether it's pass backs, whether it's side volleys, punts, everything. That's what we're doing the majority of the game. So yes, get your touches in, get your footwork in, get your wall work in, get it in. And if you're just playing 1v1 with your brother in the backyard or your mother or whoever, that's fine. Like, it's soccer. Just play soccer.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Omar, who posted a great piece on his Pro GK channel today. And apologize, Omar's not here. He's living his best life with his family right now. What's that all about? That's weird. Having to spend family time. But he posted.
By the way, Kimberly said she can't juggle either.
Oh.
Yeah, nice. Team players can't juggle. Nice.
Oh my God. What does this say about U.S. soccer, right? Anyway, he posted a really cool piece that I want you guys to check out on his Pro GK channel in regards to Kasper Schmeichel saying that he was terrible at his own goal kicks even up until like 12, 13, 14, something like that. And he just started working on his weak foot over and over again. And Omar was bringing up the fact is like, if you just spend this entire lockdown period working on your weak foot, do you realize how much better of a goalkeeper you're going to be when you come back? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't spend enough time on my weak foot. And I never did when I was a player. And it held me back to the level that I could have played at because I didn't spend that time on it.
I make my goalkeepers throw left-handed and right.
Well, you're just mean.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm just
I
joking.
got to Japan to play pro, and I was like, it was like 4-hour practices, and part of that was all distribution, working on my throwing, working on everything. And I had a bomb, like a gun of a right arm. I was a baseball player. I was an outfielder, not softball, baseball. And all of a sudden my coach was like, okay, throw with your left hand. And I was like, what? But it was just balance to the body. Have I ever had to throw with my left hand in a game? No, but it was just like a muscle balance to my body, understanding mechanics, not just on one side of your body, but on both sides of your body. And whether that comes from your upper body or your lower body, it's important. I know you're laughing. You're like, I can't throw left-handed. I see you, Mike. I can.
I can throw left-handed because I'm left-handed.
Oh, just go. Please.
Mic drop. By the way, Laurie, remember when we said don't worry about it, don't stress about it. It's pretty casual. Like we'll go off on tangents. Yeah,
Yes.
we've gone off on a
I
10-minute
see how it
tangent
is.
on
Yeah.
nothing to do with the topic. Getting back into this right here. What should be your plan of attack after the quarantine ends? Should you go into, because some people are going like gung ho, clinics, camps, weekly sessions, privates are getting everything going again, or should it be more of a gradual progression to kind of get everything back on its feet?
Well, I think it's hard to say because we don't even know when that's going to be, whether it's going to be May, June, is it going to be in the middle of July when we're in camp season? You know, like, I think it's just so hard to know. If it's in the middle of July, then we're going to be right into camp season. So that's going to be right back into it. If it's end of May, then maybe a little bit more gradual. So I think that's really hard to plan right now, not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring. Listen, I'm naive. I'm a little hopeful. I'm hoping that it all ends soon, only because I want to get back out there. We all do. And I hope it's a gradual, I hope it's gradual. I hope that eventually we all get back to our normal lives, and hope for the best. But I think it's just so hard right now because it's just unpredictable.
Yeah.
I think we said this on that topic the other day, was like the concern of, even if it's like, okay, at the end of June, you guys can run camp. The fields are going to be open, you can run camp. Like, where are the parents' mindset's going to be with that? Like, where, I run the UCLA camps, like, we have college ID camps and people fly in and this and that and the other. How is that going to change in a sense? Are we going to be, we don't know. Are you going to be restricted? You can't have 100 kids on the field. You can only have this many. They have to be separated in groups. Right now, we don't know. And I hope that we can get back to some sort of normal, more for, and not, the world's going through a horrible thing right now. And I'm not like making that any less of a thing. It's just more for everybody's mentality to kind of come back to some sort of a normal where, kids can go out and they can play and they can be around other kids and they, can have camps and go away to overnight camps and stuff. It's an important part of growing up and being a soccer player.
It is. For sure.
Yeah, I think look, here's one thing that I'm kind of concerned about, and I think it's something that we'll have to also honestly have open dialogue about this, and with parents and other coaches and all that is injury. If all of a sudden you're just throw all the kids out there and they haven't been doing the act. That's why we've been stressing for everybody, stay fit, keep up, not just for your physical health, but your mental health as well too. Because if we come back out there and you all of a sudden you start running everything like nothing, like there's been no break, like nothing's happened or whatever, people are going to get hurt. People are going to be rusty. People are going to be, slipping and sliding. They're going to be striking the ball poorly, that sort of thing. So that's my concern is that people are going to start getting hurt because they weren't ready to get back on the field, and we went full on as opposed to maybe just once a week now until you saw that everybody's fitness levels back up. I want to talk about the fear factor in regards to the camps, because I want a lot of parents out here to hear about this, is that at some point life does have to return to normal, and if we all start living in this, fear comes from inside. It's not from the outside. Yes, there's outside influences that create our fear, but like the anxiety that I feel inside myself right now, for instance, talking to Laurie as she's staring at me, is inside my body. It's not actually, I'm conjuring it. I'm conjuring it right now. So we need to be careful. We need to be smart, but at the same time, we need to go back to our lives and try to live it normally. We can't have, somebody just coughed on the field. Okay, well now we're shutting down the entire session, and I see Saskia's point in regards to, yeah, we have to be safe and stuff like that. But
no, but I think we have to take. We don't know. I think we have.
No, you're right.
I think if somebody says, okay, everything's open and fine, do we really know that? Like, and I'm not saying to be scared, but I'm saying to be smart. Educate yourself.
Yeah.
Like think about it. Like if look, camp coaches and people are going to hate me for saying this and everything like that, but if you feel more comfortable sending to your kid locally to a day camp where there's less kids and you can keep it monitored and they're coming home to you and showering and washing their clothes and you feel better about that working forward into some sort of normalcy, then there's nothing wrong with that. Like we're all learning every day. And I don't have the answers for you. I can't tell you when the gates open up and everything's fine, that everything's really, it's what you feel okay with. You know, do I think you should lock somebody down? No, but find a, like an in-between, find a medium ground and work your way back into some sort of comfortability.
So what's the most important thing for a program to get back off the ground first, whenever this ends? Let's just say hypothetically this ends, God willing, June. Okay. Let's say it starts in June. The weather's good. Well, maybe you got the humidity. We're lucky we don't have that same type of crazy humidity that you guys have. Clinics, camps, privates. What's the most important thing to get going again?
I would start as soon as I would get the all clear. I would start up doing. I mean, I'm supposed to be doing camps too. I'm supposed to have a camp April 28th. Well, that's not going to happen. Then I pushed it back to June 2nd. I don't know what's going to happen. So we're all losing out on these camps. So yeah, as soon as I can get the go of we can start training and doing groups and camps, then I'm going to go. I'm going to send out my group email and be like, welcome back, everybody. Let's get after it. It's time to train. Hopefully everybody's healthy and ready to maintain that. And if you still don't feel comfortable doing a group session of 4, then we can, talk about doing a private session. So,
will you set up some sort of I think the world's changed a little bit. So will you set up some sort of, let's be smart about this. I told my goalkeepers before we all went on lockdown here in LA, stop spitting on your gloves.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds now it makes sense. Then everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, stop.
Isn't it amazing how the world has changed?
You're sitting on your gloves, you're picking up a ball, you're catching a ball, then the field player's picking up the ball, throwing the ball in, touching their face. And I go, those are like little things that we can impose to make a little bit of a difference, to make people a little more comfortable.
That week my last week, that whole week that I was coaching, like I said, it was like Monday the 15th or whatever that was. I brought out a can of Lysol and told the kids not to spit on their gloves and to use their, the water. And then I was spraying the ball.
Every Jersey girl, water.
You know what? I knew you were going to say that, Saskia. Yeah. Here I am in my 40s and I still say water.
Water.
I know, I can't help it. But that's one thing that I would stress is, can we stop spitting on the gloves and use your agua? And let's make better decisions on how much we touch our face and on our gloves.
I just think those little things make a difference.
It does. And I'll be honest with you, like up until 3 weeks ago, I apparently had never learned how to wash my hands. Like I had no idea how to wash. I had never, did you ever use I never did the thumb thing or anything like that. Like that's all new to me.
Gloves or what are you talking? Like
washing my hands. Like, the way you're supposed to wash your hands now.
Right. When you twist your thumb.
Yeah. I never did that before.
In between the fingers.
Yeah.
I just, my hand washing process now, I might as well be actually washing my gloves. Like that's how long the process is now. It's
I
insane.
saw Dr. Oz do it and he was getting in there. I was like, whoa.
She looked at me the other week and I was washing my hands at the singing the happy birthday song. And she's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, well, apparently if I sing the happy birthday song while I'm washing my hands, it's the amount of time that I'm supposed to take to wash my hands. And she's a nurse and she looked at me like I was crazy, but it was still funny.
My hands were bleeding last week because I'd been washing my hands so much because I'd been sick too. So like my hands were like bleeding. I had to put moisturizer on every night because like my hands were like cracking from washing them consistently. Yeah. So learn how to use moisturizer too, guys. That's a important thing.
Learn how to take care of their equipment, wash their gloves, all of that.
Yes,
stuff.
wash your gloves more often. And I even tell the keepers that now. Like that's like a lesson, once a week lesson. If I have a week-long camp, it is a Thursday lunchtime lesson. You need to learn how to wash your gloves. Some of them had no idea that they're allowed to wash their gloves. I don't understand how you don't know that you can wash your gloves. You're wearing them. You wear socks. You wear shoes. Wash your gloves. Whether it's hand wash them the old school way, in the shower, in the sink, or just throw them in the wash machine really tight and don't dry it. So get them in the wash, clean them up.
I remember doing Tony's camps and you'd call all the kids in.
Yes.
And it was the worst smell.
Oh, terrible. I still smell that.
Like, because all the kids would come in at the end and they'd take their gloves off, and you're out in, like, you know, whether you're at like Rice University in the heat of Houston, Texas, and
Yep.
these kids take their gloves off, and they're like, so many of them, and it will knock you off your feet.
It does.
Yeah.
Knock you off your feet. Wash your gloves.
Look, I will say one positive that comes out of this whole situation that we're in right now is I think that goalkeeper hygiene is going to change. I think a lot of kids are going to be, I mean, look, that should be an episode in itself, just called goalkeeper hygiene. Like, here's an hour on how to do on proper goalkeeper hygiene, because a lot of kids didn't learn. But I think now parents are going to be so apt to make sure that their kids are taking care of their equipment for health reasons, that a lot of kids are a lot of kids that come up right now post this era are probably not going to make a lot of the same mistakes that, you know, kids prior to this era, you know, have made.
Yeah, but I mean, we all made those mistakes. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I didn't think of it, and I was coaching a private session this summer, and I don't wear gloves usually when I coach. I'm not one of those like, hey, I got my gloves on. You know, and not that there's
I wear jeans, I wear boots.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't wear gloves when I coach usually.
Yeah.
And one of my kids like threw the ball back to me, and he just stood on his gloves, and it was just this giant movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I remember why I wear gloves when I coach. But moving forward with that, like thinking about that, and I think those types of things have to change and will change. And whether it's spreading the like influenza or whatever it is, it has to change. So
yeah.
By the way, I love that you were saying about don't wear the gloves, because like this is going back to the whole courses and stuff like that. Like, and my always thing with the licenses is that sometimes, like, when you put people presentations together, my favorite thing was like coaches would do things they clearly did not do at home with their clubs, like socks all the way up to their knees, like, tucked in with the gloves on, like everything color coordinated. Yeah.
Gloves sticking out of the back.
Yeah.
So you're not using them, but they're just there.
Yeah.
Especially tucked in on your side. Yeah, you can open it. I only time I use gloves is when I'm getting a service back to my hands.
Yeah.
That's the only time I use the gloves. Then I take them off, and then once I start the session just using my feet, then I take my gloves off, because the session's always going to, now I'm kicking balls, striking balls with my feet. Only time I wear those gloves when I'm catching the ball back to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if I do a demo with higher level keepers, you know, that's going to be a little bit of pace on the ball, like I might put the gloves on, that sort of thing, and then they'll be like, hey, can you get out of the goal, because we'd like to train now too.
That happens a lot. The UCLA girls and stuff like that, and it's just a higher level. Like, I'll put my gloves on, and like, because they'll be knocking the ball back to me with pace, and that's a little different. Well, you know, I'm not telling people they can't wear their gloves. It was just something I always find.
Like, you just hey, I'm with you though. I don't always wear my gloves. That's fine.
Yeah.
But ever since Caden spit on his ball and got back on my hand, I wear my gloves more.
There you go.
All right, let's talk financials for a second here. Now, I know, very exciting topic for everybody here,
yeah.
but there's a lot of goalkeeper coaches out there who are freaking out about their financials, and because, you know, some people are not in the situations where they're getting paid, you know, on a salary, and they were getting paid session by session, and they don't know what to do right now, or if they run their own academy, they're not getting any sessions right now. So, I mean, I've got some ideas on some things that goalkeeper coaches can do right now to help alleviate their situation, so they don't go out and risk things like running sessions. I know that there's some people out there that have set up like Patreons and GoFundMes and those sorts of things to help out, you know, goalkeeper coaches in need that they know. So look into those. And if anybody knows of any, that we'd be happy to share those on the social media. Again, other ideas that I got out there is buying packages. You know, Laurie says, you know, you're still going, you know, full circle with the getting ready for the camps. So if you know you're going to go to that camp, you know, sign up for the camp right now. You know, that way, if they don't start getting numbers, well, then there won't be a camp. So you've got to understand that if it doesn't happen, you'll get your money back, you know, but you've got to make the commitment as if everything's going forward. Otherwise, these coaches are not going to be in a position to provide you the services you want when it comes back. Does anybody agree or disagree?
Go ahead.
I agree.
That's my rant. So
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I mean, this is a tough time. I went from doing really well to now, being at zero, and that's really hard. I was probably pretty down that first week. My husband was not happy with me. Like, he's actually like, Laurie, if you're going to be like this, it needs to change. You got to stop. You got to get out of this. It will come out of this. He's working, thankfully, and we'll be okay. We have our health. We're in a good situation. There's things you can apply for. Can I look into unemployment? Can I look into the personal property? There's something out there I can look into. I think it's called a personal property loan or something for small businesses, since I'm an LLC. So there's different avenues out there that I think that we can all look into, that I know I'm going to look into as well. I have to cover myself. But as far as like prepaying for camps, yeah, I have a high school camp in August. I really hope that goes off too. Can we sign up for that now if you like?
Yeah.
And I will tell you this. I'm going to tell you right now. Some of you coaches that have been furloughed or what are out. I'm sorry. I know. I get it. Field player coaches and everything. I will tell you that once this opens up and camps hit, everybody's going to need coaches. And I have to staff our camps. And I'm in that position right now. Like, I know that if this all of a sudden turns, the new coaches that have been out of work are going to be like, hey, can I work? Can I work? Can I work? You can, no, don't everybody send me. That's not what I mean.
everyone's sending their CV right now this second.
I know.
Please no. But what I'm saying is, like, other than the unemployment, other than stuff like that, like, don't run privates, but stay strong, because there will be work. We will be back on the field. Kids will play soccer again. We will need coaches again. We will have camps again. All of this will happen. So, stay strong right now.
Yeah, look, one thing that I want to stress to a lot of coaches out there, because I've seen some very negative posts on social media. And first off, your parents see that, your kids see that. What type of a message are you giving to your clients and the parents of your clients and that sort of thing if you've got this negative mindset? Well, again, fear begets fear, right? So if you start throwing out, your fear and your concerns and your worries and all that, into the world right there, well, then they're going to be afraid, and it's going to have kind of like a domino effect, sort of thing. Again, that small business loan thing is absolutely fantastic. I believe starting on April 10th, I believe people are eligible to. Say again?
We already started it.
Oh, they already started it. Okay.
Yeah, started 2 days ago.
All right. Well, I'm clearly very good at business.
Honestly, you guys with clubs and stuff, because I'm hearing this, that you're letting go of your coaches, or, you're stopping their pay and stuff. First of all, you definitely fall into that, like, small business loan. And that whole point to that small business loan is to pay your workers. So it's to pay their salaries. It's to keep up their salaries. It's not to get a small business loan and pay your mortgage. It's to pay their salaries. And if you do that and you prove that you didn't fire a single coach or anything, then you don't owe it back. Then it becomes a grant. And that is in our community right now. It's a great idea for the clubs and stuff like that to do it. Because as long as you're under 100, I think it's 500 workers, then you qualify for it. So, instead of furloughing your coaches, apply for it. Don't fire anybody. Let them do their Zoom chats and their Zoom meetings and follow up with their kids, and make your kids feel important, and because they are, and connected. Instead of like dropping the ball on everything and trying to re-up it, and trying to start all over again. I mean, that's what I'm seeing, and that would be my suggestion right now.
I think that's a great suggestion. I think it's a great suggestion to a lot of the smaller clubs out there, their DOCs out there who are having a hard time. And, I've had actually people reach out to me personally who are at smaller clubs, and they're being like, I'm 1099 here. And
right. But even with the 1099, even if you're independent contractor, you can apply for unemployment. And even if you're 1099, the company still can do that, as well as, you don't want to lose the quality of coaching you have and their connection with the players. Some of these coaches have worked with these teams for years and years and years, and they brought them up since they were little. Whether it's training all your goalkeepers or whether it's training a full team and stuff, you don't want to lose that connection and contact. And I know that here in California, we fell right in a really bad time where everybody was re-upping their contracts and everything. So fine, parents are in a bad situation right now. They probably can't re-up the contract, but you can apply for that loan and you can take care of your coaches.
Yeah. I want to bring up a question right here that I'd been thinking about, and whether it makes sense for a lot of these smaller academies or smaller clubs or anything like that, is like whether they temporarily merge together, even if it's not a full actual merger where it like becomes one new super club or super academy, but just for the time being until everyone's business is healthy again. Because again, I think one thing that we all need to start understanding is that we're not, especially in times like this, it really makes you understand that we're not competing with each other. We're all trying to work together for the same good goals. So Laurie, what do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thought, maybe possibly if it's going to be a long term, but again, I'm still thinking, okay, is this going to be done by May, June, where it's more of a short term? Right now, we're just in it for hopefully the short term. And again, I'm naive and I'm hoping for the best. So I don't think there's needing to merge with other academies or clubs right now. That could be something down the road if it's still going on throughout the fall. That may be an issue.
Oh, let's knock on wood on that one.
Exactly. That's why I don't know if I really see I don't see myself doing that. I worked really, really hard to build Pells Keeper School to where I've gotten it with what I'm doing myself. I wouldn't merge with anybody right now. The only company I work with in the summertime is Corver United, and I work with them. And I run the goalkeeper camps while they're running their field player camps. That's the only time that Pells Keeper School has come together with Corver United, and that's it.
I agree with you. I wouldn't merge. I wouldn't do that. I'd stay tight, small. Keep your trust in your clientele. Don't open it up. Sorry, my dogs. Don't.
They agree with you. I heard that. Yeah.
See, Coco
Yeah.
agrees. All right, we get it. You agree. I wholeheartedly think no. Stay with your stuff. Stay small.
Yeah. All right. Let's before we wrap this up here, what advice do you guys? Because there are some people who, like you were talking about, inopportune times. Re-upping their contracts, starting up a business, that sort of a thing. There's some coaches out there that I've heard about. They just started their program. They were out of college and they just started their private training or small group training in their area, and this hit and they had no safety blanket or whatever, and they just left school. What advice do you give to anybody who just started a program and then all of this happened, and then vice versa? What you would tell a veteran, somebody like a Laurie, who has a very thriving business already, and how does it differ?
I would say, like, don't move off your path. Like, if you're young and you were creating a program and you started to get people in, keep in touch with them, keep in contact, figure out ways you can train them virally, let them know you care, and put the time in, and that will go, in my opinion, when the dust cloud lifts and when we can get back to some sort of normalcy, that will go so far that you're one of those coaches that, my kid talked to him twice a week or once a week, and he went over his training with him or with her, and that'll go super far. And with Laurie, she's on the right path. Do your Zoom meeting, keep in touch with everybody. Don't change that. Don't shut down. Don't say, well, boom, lights off. Maybe I'll go back to this, because there are people there that count on you and care, and they need to have some sort of a stability and some sort of a normalcy in all this chaos. And that's seeing Laurie's face and talking to her, and there's coach, and hey, how are you doing? And how are you doing? How's your family doing? That goes so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't, if I was speaking to a young coach, I would say to them, don't change. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's just wait, ride out this wave right now. But you'll have time there's always going to be goalkeepers. There are always goalkeepers emerging. And so don't worry. You have the rest of your life to coach. And right now we are all in a little hole right now, but we're going to get out of it, and we're going to get out together as a group and as a country, and we're going to be stronger from it, and we're going to be okay. So for now, we have to take a step back, but pretty soon, maybe this summer, we're going to go forward, and you're going to build from that with your clients, and build relationships. And like I said, keep building relationships now. Reach out to those players through messaging, give them a call, text them. How are you doing? How are you feeling? That's where you know that you're reaching out to them as a person and not so worried about them. All right, hey, can I train your daughter? Can I train your son? Because you're not just worried about the money. You want to worry about them as a person, because that's what they ultimately come down to first, the person.
Yeah, I think that with me, when I was reached out right when this started happening in LA, and like some of my parents that usually do privates with me were like, okay, well, it looks like she's going to be out of school, so we're going to set up a bunch of privates and stuff. And I reached back out and I said, you know what? No, it's not a good idea. It's not the right thing, but I will keep in touch, and I will go over her personal training private at home, and we'll talk about it. And I think that goes a long way.
One thing I'm doing is sending out a newsletter every week to my client base, basically my main client base in regards to the ones that I personally work with at our program, and sharing little, whether it's a link to a podcast or something that we're working on that could benefit them, so that way they don't just feel like it's just, okay, hey guys, well, we'll get back at it, on June 2nd. Until then, I don't need to hear from you, type of a thing. Because I feel that's the reason I become a goalkeeper coach, is that personal connection that you don't necessarily get sometimes when you're just working just with a team. I mean, look, having a team, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fun things about that too, but being a goalkeeper coach, oh my gosh, that is too adorable. I can't even keep my train of thought right now with the pup right there.
He's driving me crazy right now.
Oh my God, that is so cute.
Kind of placate him. There are two more, by the way, and I have to kind of placate Coco right now because he's like, rah, rah.
All right, let's move on to this. Let's do a little story time, and then we'll let Laurie get out of here, because she's got do you have what is it? Is it past dinner time over there? What's going on?
Yeah, I actually inhaled my dinner prior to this podcast. My husband made dinner for us, which was awesome. He makes dinner often. Yes. So yeah, the kids, they just went for a walk. He just texted me saying, "Can you want us to wait?" I said, "No, go ahead." So I have two young children. I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, two girls.
And do either one have an affinity towards the position?
The youngest one, my youngest, okay. I do. Now they listen. At the end of the day, I just want them to do something athletic, whether it's soccer, volleyball, even though they haven't tried that, gymnastics, whatever. Or just soccer in general, but they don't need to be a goalkeeper. I just want them to be happy, but they do both play in goal. They're at that age right now where they rotate. Now, Ashley, my oldest, will be 10 in May. They are starting to identify a position then. They both like it. Ashley does my camps. Caitlin, my youngest, I think, don't tell Ashley, I think is going to be the better athlete, is going to be the better goalkeeper. But again, she's out for a walk right now. She can't. But yeah, I think my youngest has that natural athletic ability, and she could probably be pretty good if she puts her mind to it.
That is a clip to put up online. No, I'm totally.
Don't tell my oldest to walk right now.
By the way, for everybody out there who's freaking out that, like when Saskia said, there's gonna be plenty of goalkeepers out there. There's gonna be even more goalkeepers. Do you realize how many people have just been using their children as goalkeepers during these training programs?
Right now? I learned how to play goalkeeper. My brother just shoved me up in the backyard against the fence, and I was the shooting.
That's what I'm saying. All these kids right now who are away from their clubs right now, they're using their siblings as goalkeepers.
Absolutely, that's how I learned.
There's going to be so many goalkeepers this summer that weren't even goalkeepers before.
Thank you, Trevor. Get over there. Get against the fence. It's you. And then all the kids in the neighborhood just shoot balls at me.
All right, so let's share a couple stories right here to the end of this right here. And thanks, Laurie, for taking all the time with us. Honestly, we'll have to have you back on at a time that's a more fun topic and a more jovial time. But so let's share a story at the beginning of our academies or club coaching careers. And it doesn't have to be like a big moral at the end, but if it's just something fun you want to share with the audience that you think that they get a kick out of, we'll start with Laurie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have any. I mean, I always have fun. I think that's what it comes down to. I have many funny stories because you know what? I'm me all the time. I'm having fun with these kids. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing camps when I was coaching at Clemson. I've been doing my own camps when I was coaching at University of Maryland, doing a lot of my own camps. So I started my academy, my goalkeeper, like Pells Keeper School, probably in 2007. And I think there's so many great stories out there. I coach some amazing goalkeepers that play collegiately and playing professionally right now. To pinpoint one particular story, I can't, because every time I go out there, I have fun with these kids. I try to relate to them. I'm not saying I'm being childish and being immature, maybe sometimes, but I think that they want to work for someone that they're going to have fun. And I think that's what we want to strive for, is having fun and working hard and putting in that time for that hour or an hour and a half that you're with me, and relating to these kids a little bit. So I think I love what I do. I love connecting to the kids on their level and making them feel really good about themselves. And that's what brings the joy to me of why I love doing what I do, is just hearing those phone calls from those parents or those kids telling me that they had an amazing game or 10 saves in a game, which is a ton, but just making kids happy. That's what I want.
I love it.
Yeah. That's just as good as a story on my end here. Saskia, any other either words of wisdom or a story you want to share? You've got so many stories.
I know. No, I think back, I had to, I've always coached, and I coached for Tony and stuff. And when I was 22, I was coaching, like I was a director for Soccer Plus and stuff like that. So I'm like coaching, and they always gave me like the
Wait, so you're coaching kids that are like only a few years younger than you?
Yeah, I was always giving the kids that were in high school, seniors in high school, because of my intensity. Shocking, because of my intensity, and like I couldn't deal with the little ones. And I needed to be out there, and I was like hammering out, and because I was in goal training too. I was with the national team and everything. And so fast forward a lot of years, and I'm at club here for LA Bulls, and they asked me to do our little junior academy, which is like twice a week. And they're like 5-year-old, like 5, 6, little kids. I'm like, yeah, I got it, you know? Oh my God. Oh my God. This was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I got kids biting each other. I got kids crying behind a tree. The nannies are over there having a conversation because it's not their problem at the moment. It's my problem. And I'm just trying to get them to like just play at this point. Like forget like teaching them anything. I just stop biting him. Don't punch him in the face. Pull your pants up. And
Pull your pants up. Pull your pants up.
Like stop eating grass. Get out from behind the tree.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sitting there, and at one point, Melissa Fernandez is coaching like one of the regular teams, and she watches me, and I'm just like, I think I just put my hands over my head, and I was just like, oh my God. And I just hear her go, Sas, you okay? And I'm like, I can't do this. Oh my God. I'm like, because it was like just corralling these children. And like I said, the mothers, the nannies, they were over there just, it's not my problem. You're the coach. You got to deal with it. And I was just like, needless to say, I don't coach junior academy anymore.
So yeah, don't give Saskia the younger age group at any camp.
That's hilarious.
No, I always got the older age group at Soccer Plus, always, because they knew that I just wanted to put my head down, intense, like I didn't want excuses, anything like that, and because that was my mindset. Here, I've opened up a little bit, but that kind of that tested my boundaries, and I still have like PTSD.
Yeah, it's a tough age group.
It's so, I mean, Saskia, how many of those kids had spaghetti straps on, for instance?
I don't even know what was going on.
Can't stand that.
It's the worst.
Why are you wearing a tank top to goalkeeper training?
I never understood that. I'm like, so it's like you're dressed for going to the beach for goalkeeper training.
This was just field players.
Oh, this was just field players. Oh, okay.
I could have taken care of that.
Oh, okay.
Field players. So it was just like, field players, you think goalkeepers are crazy? Those kids are crazy. Like, they're crazy. It's just not my forte.
Oh my gosh. I have actually I have a story. So
You can
first-
see it though, Laura. I know you. Laura's just like, why would anybody give Saskia like little?
Oh, no way. No way. No way.
so the first time I ever did a day camp for a collegiate program, I was expecting a competitive program, let's just say. So actually it was years back. Actually it was back when Jill was still the coach at UCLA, and they hired me to run the UCLA camps, and I was doing the goalkeepers on the competitive side. They were doing the the overnight thing that Saskia is obviously involved with now, and so I was like, okay, well that makes a lot of sense. But they're like, you're also going to do the day camp stuff, and I just assumed that meant, oh, it's going to be just like the goalkeeper camp, and it is a different animal completely. Because I showed up and I put my session together like these were going to be club kids, and it was not club kids. These were not club kids. So on the fly, I had to, let's just say the next day I showed up with a whistle. That happened the next day. I showed up with a whistle. And literally I had to do everything. I had to time everything, and I would just keep looking at my phone to make sure that the time's going. But at the same time, I had to scan and make sure that just kids, there was this one kid that kept going, is like, this is what Ronaldo does. And he would like do this move like through his legs and like push the ball off his heel or whatever. And we're just doing like simple step overs. I'm like, dude, why are you doing this right now? And he's like, Ronaldo does it. It's good enough for Ronaldo. It's good enough for me. I'm like, all right, this is.
My favorite thing is you gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, the bathroom thing.
And you gotta walk them.
Great. Yes, all the time when they're younger. Yes.
Oh man.
They have to have an escort. So
Yeah.
Half of my basically at one point I just hung out at the bathroom and told people to send the kids.
Yes.
I was like, you know what? I got it. I'm just going to stay over here. I'm going to hang out. Just send the kids. Walk them to twos. I'll make them in. I'll make sure they go in one at a time. Just send them back.
Oh my gosh.
My favorite thing about that though is the day camps is that like even like the older kids there, because like they're not, a lot of them are not competitive kids. Like they're like the staff, like a lot of the college kids, like they're our staff, and like, or the coaches were like legit people, players and stuff like that, or coaches. And they have no clue. They're like, do you know who, like, they're like, where's Coach Jill? I'm like, you mean like one of the most accomplished coaches in the women's game right now? I think Coach Jill's over there. Like what profound question do you need to ask her about the bathroom? Because I don't know if I want to ask her about that right now.
Yo, I'm like, I never knew my World Cup championship would have me standing at a porta potty, field ushering little kids in for the next hour and a half.
Oh my gosh. We'll have to do a whole episode on camp stories. That
We should. I'll join.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. All right, guys, my voice is starting to get hoarse right here. And I've got obviously a lot of things to do, like take a shower, watch TV, a lot of big things to do. I already got my training in for the day. For anybody out there listening or watching who thinks that I'm a hypocrite, no, I already did my training, and now it's time for me to start unwinding for the day and get ready for watching. I think. What am I going to watch tonight? I don't know. It's probably not something I need to bring up on the show. Anyway, if anyone wants to reach out to Laurie, if there's a coach out there that wants to know, get a little more advice or whatever, or people that want to know more about Pells Goalkeeper School, where's the best place for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I have my website, pellsgkschool@gmail, or my website, pellskeeperschool.com, and you can get all my information there.
That makes it very, very simple. Now I noticed that Twitter, there was no Pells Goalkeeper School on Twitter going on here.
There is. It's under Pells GK School, and I'm not the best at. I don't have someone. I'm just me, right?
Okay.
I don't have someone taking videos of my training session while I'm shooting balls on players. If I get a chance, I'll maybe take a picture at the end. But I do have Twitter. I don't use Twitter that often. I do Instagram, Pells GK School. And Facebook, Pells Goalkeeper School. So, but I do the best I can with social media. I do.
Yeah.
Saskia, what do you say?
Saskia, can we hear you?
I don't think you can.
Yeah. We can hear you. Yeah.
Sometimes. I just want to say, hey, Laura, I'm so, this isn't in a condescending, I'm so proud of everything you're doing. And, I'm a little older than you, but grew up playing together at at some point, and I follow your school, I follow your training, I follow your mud runs, and you're doing awesome, and you're what this country needs and what all young goalkeepers need, and keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
when I was at Baltimore Convention, which unfortunately we missed Saskia at because it was just bad timing. But next year's convention will be in LA, so everyone's going to be there for that one.
My PTSD,
What'd you say?
convention.
Oh, your PTSD convention, PTSD. I ran into some kids at Baltimore Convention, that obviously trained with you at the program. They spoke very, very highly of you. And, thank you for everything that you're doing in that whole, area, in the DC, Maryland area or whatever. I think it's DC, Maryland, Virginia, all right? All that kind of
The DMV is what they call it. The DMV.
The DMV. So
But don't forget, she's a Jersey girl.
Hey, I still have my Jersey cell phone number.
Yeah.
So that's the very first cell phone number when I was in grad school at the College of New Jersey. So I once a Jersey girl, as Saskia knows, always a Jersey girl. And it goes back to Saskia. When I told my parents I was going to be on this podcast, I told my parents I'm going to be on a podcast with Saskia Weber and Michael, and my mom immediately knew and remembered. Oh yes, I remember Saskia, not only from playing with you with the charge, but my parents hired her when I was in high school and she was at Rutgers to train me.
what?
Not all. We didn't do it a lot. Probably didn't have a ton of money. I don't know I don't even know what it was. The going rate was then. Saskia. No, you were a college player. You were
I
a
was
college.
a college player.
Yeah, you're.
Oh, yeah, it's totally illegal, probably.
No, it's not, is it?
I think so.
Hey, back then, '94, there was no rules. Okay.
Probably isn't, but
Yeah. I don't know, but it wasn't that many times. But at the end of the day, like, we go back to connections, right? We go back to that, what we started with, and it all started with you, Saskia, in New Jersey, getting me on that road, that path, and then being teammates with you with the charge and the connections we build, and we build with everyone. So it's a big circle, and we all have each other to be thankful for.
it's
And look,
amazing.
and it's 6 degrees of separation of New Jersey, to be honest with you, when it comes to U.S. soccer. It really is. Like, you can connect everyone to New Jersey through 6 people, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
If not 3 people, you could probably connect everybody in U.S. soccer. All right, guys, that's all the time on Inside the 18 today. Remember, contact at insidethe18media.com if you have a guest suggestion or a topic suggestion. Thank you for all you guys who have been sending out suggestions for topics and guest suggestions. We have a limited amount of time, so we're trying to go through people as quickly as we can. But we will, if we think something is right for the audience, we'll definitely get back to you. Also, at Goalkeeper Podcast on all social media platforms, keep rating, reviewing, subscribing on iTunes. It helps us move up the charts, means more goalkeepers find us, means we can better help the goalkeeping community. So that's all the time, guys. I've lost my voice. I think I might drink this soda, and we are out. Later.
Bye, guys. Bye, Laura.
Bye. Thank you so much.
For sure. That was great. That was